We're live. Okay, I'm new to this. I'm not sure to this. Let me figure out the settings. Okay. Okay. Oh my god. We're on YouTube with it. Okay. I normally go live on my TikTok or on Instagram, but more so my TikTok because Instagram is just not where I go live really. I don't think anybody really goes live on there. But besides that, let's get right into the topic of this live. We're talking about how to overcome trauma and damage that caused you to get stuck from the past. Okay? I know a lot about this stuff because even though I'm very young, I've experienced a lot of unnecessary things that taught me a lot. And ignore the messy here today. Actually, no, acknowledge it because it's actually giving. So, yeah. I actually felt prompted to do this because it was quite a few people that messaged me on my Instagram, basically noticing that I'm always talking about my parents, and they're like, "Wow, I noticed how you like healed from your past. I remember there was a lot that was going on with your parents, and I'm just glad to see that you have forgiven them." And I almost was confused by a couple of comments towards the situation because I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you know me? But I didn't realize that I used to I realized this, but I kind of forgot that I actually posted a lot of things that traumatized me pertaining to my parents on social media, like all over. I even went viral, like got millions and millions of views on TikTok for posting this the ring doorbell situation that happened with my mom like years back when her boyfriend at the time kicked all of her kids out. I'm her kid, kicked us all out. And I pretty much posted that online. It was talking crap. And it wasn't more so like me talking crap, it was more so me voicing myself, telling how I felt, telling the situation, airing my mom out, didn't care, aired my dad out, didn't care, like all over social media. And it got a lot of likes and views because people were relating to their parents choosing other people over them. And it's really an issue, and it hurts when you go through something like that. So that's why I really feel like I need to talk about this because it's something that needs to be addressed because people will hold on to that forever. They will hold on to that forever. And I don't blame you. I don't. Because I held on to the anger that I had towards my mom for a very long time. So let's get into it. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about let's just go back to the video that I posted on TikTok because that's like the most recent thing that was reoccurring. So my mom ended up leaving our home state where she raised us, birthed us. We've always lived here. And I'm from Michigan, by the way. So she left Michigan to go to another state far away from Michigan for her husband. And this situation triggered my younger siblings and I because they're very young, so they still were dependent on her at the time. They're a little bit older now, but not super, like they're not minors, but 18 is pretty young. I'm 22. So at the time, I had just became an adult and they were still young, but when she decided to leave, it was kind of like we felt abandoned because it's like you're all we know. Where are we going to go? Who's going to take care of us? And upon us having that disagreement, her boyfriend at the time decided that it was his place to intervene and suggested that my mom just put us all out. And my mom, being somebody who was a stay-at-home mom for 16 years, very influenced by masculine energy, she obeyed whatever he told her to do. Not whatever he told her to do. She has her own mind, but she felt influenced by that and decided, well, she felt like we were disrespecting her and decided that, yeah, I'm going to put them out and this is my decision and it's not him that's making this decision, it's me. So we all got put out and we all ended up living with my dad. Mind you, I live in a household I lived in a household. I grew up in a household where both my parents were present, and it was a two-parent household. So my parents divorced after I was like 16. So I kind of was self-sufficient at that point. So their divorce didn't really affect me that bad. It was just like the living situation was different, but it didn't affect me as much as it affected my younger siblings. So when my mom put us out, we ended up going back to live with my dad, and we hadn't lived with him in years, so it was kind of weird, but it was just awkward because we hadn't lived with my dad in years, and it was like a big adjustment for us because my dad is used to his own space. After that divorce, he was used to his own space, and we felt like we were invading it at times. And he's very strict too, so he will always be strict about us and strict about his environment, how he wants it kept. So it caused a lot of friction, and he would misplace things because dads, the memory is not always the best on them, and he would misplace things, and he would get mad at us and blame us. And me being the oldest sister present, because my older sister, she lived in a whole nother situation, I'm not going to talk about her. I was the oldest sister present, and I'm very protective over my younger siblings. So when my dad would come at them about missing items, I would go haywire. Like, I would get really mad, really mad. And I wouldn't go off on him, but I would like check him, if you know what I mean. I would be like, Dad, they did not do anything wrong. It's you. And I've always been like that. I've always been the kind of child that stood her ground, placed boundaries, all of that. So when it came to us living with my father, I was adamant on proving a point. Like, very much so adamant on proving a point. Like, you can't boss us around anymore. I'm grown. All of that. So one thing led to another, and I ended up getting put out, which led to me having to get my own living situation. So that became the start of my villain origin story. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I have to post my little post on Instagram so that people know that I'm live. So, oh wait, it didn't post. Hold on. Okay, it posted. So, the questions are rolling in. So, when I ended up getting my own apartment, it kind of was just like, F both my parents. I don't care about them. I don't need them. My whole point of getting my own apartment was to prove that I don't need them. I became like hyper independent to the point where it was like, I'm doing everything on my own now just to prove that I don't need help from anybody. And that is no way for a woman to ever thrive. Being hyper independent as a woman is like almost going to be your downfall because you're meant to ask for help. You're a woman. You're meant to ask for help. You need assistance, honey. We're naturally, by nature, we are the weaker species. We are. Men are the stronger ones. We're the weaker ones. We're meant to ask for help. You're not supposed to be hyper independent. Not that it's a bad thing. It could be a good thing. But it will hurt you more than it'll help you, okay? To not ask for help. To not ask for help. So I was on that, and I don't know, out of the blue one day, I just kind of felt like I miss my mom and I miss her support, and I don't want to keep this anger going between us because I had burnt bridges between both my parents. A lot of words were exchanged and a lot of things happened from the time that I got my apartment since I left, and it was just chaotic. Like, it was a very chaotic time, very heavy time. So I decided to reach out to my mom because my mom is the more feminine, forgiving parent. So she wasn't gonna hold like a big grudge like my father would. He'll hold a grudge to the day you go. But she was going to forgive more than she would hold a grudge. She still can bring up stuff like a lot. She'll hold on to that, but she's more forgiving. So I decided to reach out to my mom, and I talked to her and ended up getting and this was before the TikTok video, mind you. So me and my mom fell out quite a few times, like big fallouts. So me and my mom got back close, and then some time went by, and my sister ended up going to live back with my mom after occurrence with my father. So he put her out, and when she was living with my mom, this is when my mom was still planning to leave to go to a different state. So she ended up in the middle of my sister living there, moving to that other state, and I'm not going to call it abandoning because that's a trigger from my mom, but sending my sister to go and live with my grandmother. And the issue with that was that my sister had only lived with my mom and my dad her entire life. So all these different living situations where she's hopping around to, that's triggering, that's traumatizing. So that's going to trigger her to do exactly what I was doing and being hyper independent. So it's harmful. And I felt that. And my brother, he just stayed with my father. But my younger sister, it was the one that kept getting bounced around family. And it was just annoying for her to just not know when she can just settle down and when she's going to have her peace. So that hurt me because I feel very connected to my younger sister and I feel her emotions. So when the whole situation happened, my mom decided she was still going to leave. That's when I put the TikTok video out there and posted the Ring doorbell and all of that, because I was like, you're chaotic and I want you to feel my wrath. That's how I was at the time. That's how I was thinking. So she really didn't care. And I actually didn't realize how dangerous that TikTok was, because a lot of people came sending threats to her on her Facebook and sending threats to him. And it was just like, I didn't mean for that to happen. But luckily she's fine. Everything's fine. It was just, TikTok people, they can get a little crazy, okay? Especially when they care about people and their feelings. I understand it and I appreciate it, but don't threaten my mom. So I understand the intentions were good though. So when the whole situation occurred with the TikTok video being up, she kind of did not care, and it made me even more mad, because I'm like, you see all these people in the comments basically backing up what I'm saying, and they're agreeing that they have mothers that are like you, and I didn't understand, why is she not changing? Why isn't this changing her? And oh, it's people in here? I didn't even know. Oh my god, hi. Yes, she said, Life with Shay says, TikTok people sometimes take things too far. That is correct. They will drag it through the mud to hell and back. So yeah, there's that. But when I noticed that it wasn't affecting her and she kind of just didn't care about the TikTok, my whole thing was I wanted to control, like really, really bad. Like, I don't know if it's the Virgo in me or what, but I wanted to control things super bad. I wanted to control the whole situation and make my mom a different person. It doesn't work like that. So that TikTok video kind of just backfired, and it didn't do anything positive, is what I'll say. It didn't have a positive effect. Pretty, I'm loving the live. Oh, thank you. Stop. so so when after the situation with my mom seeing the TikTok and the whole TikTok situation died down, because I posted it all over my social media, and that's why I kind of forgot that people remember these things. Like, people remember my TikTok, they remember my video, they remember everything I said about my parents. I would post a lot of angry things about my parents, a lot of spiteful things, and like, that weighs on you. But no matter how you look, it's about the inside. So me saying so much and spewing so much negativity about my mom, trying to hurt her, trying to feel heard, was making me ugly inside. And that's what I had to learn to stop doing, because at the end of the day, when you're projecting, you're not realizing that you want to be heard. You want your energy to be felt, but there's other ways to go about it than to put others down and shame people and put negativity on them. Okay? So that's pretty much what I was doing, and I take full accountability for that. And I don't know exactly when I had the mindset shift to just have a more forgiving heart, but over time, as I grew, and this is all the way from like 18 until my current age, 22, I just realized that when you can't control things is when you feel like you're spiraling. But when you can't control things is when you allow the universe, God, whoever you believe in, to work things in your favor, work things out for you, because you're not meant to control. You're meant to be. And if you control things, especially stuff that you can't control, meaning outside of your body, you're going to have a difficult time, because those things just can't be controlled. You can't do anything about it. There's no magic book in the world that you could read that can help you to control things that are out of your control. Your best bet is to surrender. And my mom left and came back a couple of times. Like, she left Michigan, went to the other state with her husband, and came back a couple of times. And each time I watched my sister get more and more spiteful towards her, because she's just like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know when you're gonna come and stay. I don't know. So it was triggering for her. But for me, I wasn't in the environment where my mom would, appear, because she would always come back to my grandmother's house, and that's where my sister would live. I wouldn't be here to see her every single time she would come back. But I can only imagine how annoying it was for my sister to get her hopes up of her staying, and then she goes again. So I just got to a point where I was just accepting of her decisions, because my mom was married to my father for 16 years. That was all of her 20s. She was married to my dad in her 20s. She had kids in her 20s. 21 was the age she had my oldest sister. She got married at 21. 16 years from then, she's 36. She had her entire 20s raising children. You have to understand from your parents' point of view. If you don't understand your parents, you have to ask them. Talk to them. Get their side. Like, try to. Try to understand your parents because they have lives that they lived, and your life is not the only life that ever existed. That's what I had to realize. I had to realize this world does not revolve around just me. People in my world, it's things that revolve around them as well. So, with my mom, she had her entire 20s raising 4 kids. Four. 4 kids. Stay at home mom. She did not go out much. She did not go out much at all. She stayed at home and raised 4 kids while my dad would work his butt from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day. Both of them were children. Both of them were the same age when they got married and had kids. 20, 21, 16 years of marriage. She did not have her 20s to go explore and figure out what she likes, what hobbies she might have. She didn't have that at all. So what I needed to realize is that you're trying to control this woman, even if she's your mother, not understanding that she didn't get to experience the same things or the same opportunities that you have. So maybe what she's trying to do is get that. Maybe what she's trying to do is experience things that she's never experienced. Maybe her wanting to leave Michigan was her just wanting to explore the world, and her opportunity was her husband at the time. Maybe because she didn't have those. She didn't have the opportunity to do that when she was raising you. I didn't realize that. I didn't accept that. And when I realized it and she told me herself, I became more forgiving. I became more understanding. And that's the whole point. You just have to understand people. That's how you can forgive, is to understand people. Even if you have to make excuses for why they did it, don't excuse the behavior. Don't let them cross your boundaries, but understand them. Come from a place of understanding. My dad's childhood was very traumatic. He told me lots about his childhood and how he was abused as a kid. Both of my parents were abused as children. So then they got together and they're married for all these years, and all they're doing is focusing on raising these kids in their marriage. Where do they have time to just let loose and do things that 20-year-olds do? Because I never saw my parents go to the club. They were at home every day with us, raising us. We were the priorities. They sacrificed it for us. Yes, they had kids by their own choice and free will, but they gave up a lot for us, and that's stuff to be grateful for. So knowing all of this and reflecting on all of this is what made me more forgiving towards my parents. Okay, maybe you might have had privileged parents, maybe your parents might have had better lives, and they might just be trying to control yours and making yours harder. You still have to understand that parents come from a place of love. If you have a mother, she loves you because she carried you in her womb, and that is the purest form of love that ever exists. Ever. A mother and her child's love. So when it comes to what your parents have done to traumatize you, I'm not saying dismiss the behavior and just accept it. I'm saying you have to understand what could have caused them to do it. Hurt people, okay? So when somebody's hurting inside, sometimes their only option in their mind is to hurt you because they want to feel something and they want you to feel something and they want you to understand how they feel. My best go to avoid taking things like that as like it's personal is to just simply not take it personal. Okay? So when my parents say something that criticizes me or triggers me, I don't take it personal. That's their perspective. That's how they see things. I accept it. Do I have to apply it to myself? No. But I accept it because you said it, it's acknowledged. Cool. I don't have to apply it to myself or do it. Some people have very overcritical parents where they're trying to criticize everything they do. You could just say, okay, that's cool. I respect your perspective and I understand your perspective, but I'm going to do it my way. It doesn't always have to be about disrespect or all of that, just as long as your boundaries are still set in place and that your parents can respect them and you can respect theirs. If you have parents that don't respect your boundaries and they straight up just disrespect you, it's time to have a talk. Understanding why they're doing these things and where it's coming from. Because parents oftentimes get this idea in their head that, oh, well, I created you, so I'm above you, and you're going to do what I tell you to do, and there's nothing else you can say or do about it. But they're not understanding that you're a human being and you have feelings and emotions as well. They just see it as they're above you. So what could help is you explaining that, well, that makes me feel this way. That makes me feel like, talk about your feelings instead of just bottling them up inside and then exploding whenever you feel like you should explode. So let me read Life with Shay's comments. I'm trying not to control everything, knowing I can't. It's just hard because I want everything a certain way. Yes, I understand that completely. Like, when it comes down to relationships with people or just my life in general, I always want to control because I want things to work the way that I feel they should work, because I always feel like my way is the best way. Who doesn't think like that though? But at the end of the day, your way might not be the best way, because whatever the grand scheme, the grand plan, things that you can't see happening, God, the universe, whatever is already planned out is already going to happen. You meddling with it is going to cause it to possibly take the wrong turn. It's going to cause it to possibly take the left turn. And you don't know what exactly is supposed to happen, but it's going to happen for a reason. But if you're messing with stuff, trying to control it, that's when you're causing things to probably not even go in your favor. Just allow things to exist. Just allow things to happen. Okay? So we're done with that part, explaining my little childhood and whatever. So I'm going to go and get some of these comments off of my Instagram. I'll just try, like, because some of the comments are like kind of like the same question. So I'm just going to read the ones that summarize the main question. So this is from one of my mutuals. She said, can you go into how you personally move from the past trauma when you're currently experiencing moments where you are being triggered in a relationship? So how do you move from past trauma when you're currently experiencing moments when you are being triggered in a relationship? I would say, to move on from the past, you have to fully understand that it's no longer present. All you have from the past is memories. It's not tangible. You might have, like, maybe a stuffed animal that somebody gave you from the past. That's still present because it's with you. It has memories, but that person is not actively handing you that bear at that very moment. That happened back then. That happened yesterday. That happened last week. My whole point is, when something is not currently existing in the current time frame, in the current timeline, it doesn't exist. It only exists in here. So since it's in your mind, in your head, you can control what exists and what doesn't. Meaning that if you no longer want to resonate with those emotions and memories, you can simply turn them off. And it's not as simple as it sounds. I know you're probably like, girl, why are you trying to convince us that it's easy to let go of memories? It's not. You have to practice it every day, as you would practice playing basketball or practice a video game to get better at it or practice a dance. It's practice. You have to continuously try it over and over and over again to help yourself grow. So when it comes to, like, blocking out memories from the past that maybe you don't want to experience anymore, what I like to do is distract myself. And not like distract myself like smoking or like getting something to alter my mind. Think about different things or alter the scenario in your head. So say that you're thinking about a romantic partner that you had and you really miss them and they don't want to talk to you, and you crave them, but how they did you was bold, and you can't get over what happened because it really hurt you. They cheated on you, and you're trying to figure out how can you get these memories out your head because it hurts and you want to love them, but the cheating memories are still in there and it hurts. Well, think about, maybe you guys are just friends, and in your mind, like, this is the scenario that's going on. You keep thinking about the cheating. Think of it as, or alchemize it. So when you're thinking about the situation of the person cheating, think about, well, if they didn't cheat on me, then I wouldn't know this. If they didn't cheat on me, then I wouldn't have this. If they didn't cheat on me, I wouldn't know any better. If they didn't cheat on me, I wouldn't have been able to tell what kind of character they had. If they didn't cheat on me, how was I ever going to know that they weren't for me? If they didn't cheat on me, then how would I ever have figured out that this person was actually a cheater? You see what I'm saying? So it worked in your favor. It didn't hurt you because, well, I'm not going to say it didn't hurt you. Obviously, it hurt you emotionally, but it didn't hurt you physically to the point where you can't grow. Because if it's something that's blocking you like that, oh, that has to go now. But if it's in your memories and it's a reoccurring thought, you just can't get out of this cycle, you have to think, if this didn't occur, then I would never know. I would never be able to move past this. I would never know what to look out for. That's how you have to think of it. Because when it comes to people hurting you, that's a grand warning of that person's character and what to look out for in other people so that you stay away from people like that. Okay? I had to learn that lots, especially last year, being friends with girls at my job. Like, I experienced a lot and I saw a lot of red flags that I ignored. But I bet you I wouldn't ignore them now. I bet you I would not ignore those red flags now. I had to learn. I had to know what to look for and how to go about seeing people and reading their energy and understanding that you can't just ignore things and think that it's going to go away. No, it's not going to go away. Just because you ignore it, it's not going to go away. It's going to stay there right where you can see it until you acknowledge it and act on it. So, I'm just trying to make sure I answered the whole question, the complete question. So when you're being triggered and somebody's actually actively triggering you emotionally and you don't know how to move through the triggers, I would say in the moment that you're being triggered, like say for me, a trigger is people yelling at me. I don't like people yelling at me. Somebody yelling at me is like, it switches a switch in my mind. Like I'm in danger. That's what it tells me. Okay. I don't act like start swinging on people just because they're yelling at me. It just kind of like triggers me to feel like I'm a little girl again. And people yell when they feel small. If you didn't know, people yell and project themselves when they feel really small or insecure. And I didn't realize that. So when people yell at me now, because when I was a kid, my dad would yell at me all the time and I kind of just would shut down and throw a tantrum. Now what I do when somebody yells at me is I stop and think. I kind of like tune out what they're saying. Well, I listen to what they're saying and understand, okay, well, they're trying to get this point across. But at the same time, I'm understanding and thinking at the same time. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, they're yelling one because they're clearly feeling threatened by me and they're clearly trying to not only be heard, but make me scared or make themselves seem bigger so that they seem more intimidating. So I acknowledge that. This is all like going on in my head. And then I also think like, well, I'm not gonna win if I yell back, right? Because that's defensive. And clearly I feel defensive, but I don't have to act that way. I don't yell, so I don't want to yell back. How can I get this situation to go in my favor? Start asking yourself that when you feel traumatized or triggered, how can I get this situation to go in my favor? Because when somebody yells at me now, I think, okay, well, they're trying to intimidate me, they're trying to scare me. But if I just stay quiet and let them yell, maybe once they're done yelling and I start to speak, they'll calm down and maybe we can come to an agreement of some sort. Or if you really feel threatened and triggered, walk away. Don't surround yourself with people who trigger you. But if there are triggers that you can work on, like say for example, somebody triggers you because they're being competitive, like another woman is being competitive with you as a woman, and they're trying to one up you with their outfits and saying like, well, this hair is better than yours or this outfit is better than yours and you'll never be on my level. Okay, what you can do when you feel triggered in that moment, instead of being competitive back, you can just say, well, your outfit really is cute. Do something that you would feel uncomfortable doing naturally, right? Do something that goes against the grain of your natural, which your natural response would be. So that's how you can work through it. But also, it's a lot. When you're triggered, you have to think before you act, because being triggered, a lot of times you want to just act. It's like a response is immediate. You don't need a response for everything. So when you're triggered, your best bet is sorry, my daughter. When you're triggered, your best bet, your best response is going to be to think first, and react only when it's appropriate. So, back to the scenario I just gave, somebody's trying to one up you. They're telling you that their life is better than yours. They're being competitive, and you're just not a competitive girly. Okay, that's cool. That's good. Don't be a competitive girly. It's no point. But when somebody's doing that with you, you kill them with freaking kindness, okay? Because that's something that you probably wouldn't do in the first place. Or if it is something you do, continue to do it because that's the right thing to do. Don't get competitive back. Don't match energy. I don't like that phrase. Oh, I match energy. Don't match energy if it's negative energy because you're only going to be hurting yourself. Why are you spewing negativity back at somebody who's negative? You can't fight fire with fire. So when it comes down to people wanting to be negative in return or fight trauma responses with negative, it just doesn't work that way. My best answer to that question, how to deal with when you're feeling triggered, is to alchemize it. Turn and transmute that energy into positivity because it's really mental. It's really in your head. But you have to understand that in order for you to get past being triggered, it has to come from within. And within has to be positive because if it's negativity coming out, it's not going to work. You can cry about it. You can journal about it. You can write down, well, why did this make me feel this way? And how can I move forward to fix that? Those are all positive things, though. But reacting in a negative way, shutting down, all of that is not going to help your growth. If you're trying to grow, you need to be focused on what can I do to make the situation work in my favor? And what can I do to actually grow? Be growth minded. Be the kind of person that's thinking, okay, well, even if these things happen this way, it's still going to work for me. It's still going to work in my favor. Okay. I answered that question like it probably took me like 2 minutes to answer that question, but I just wanted to go into depth. Okay. Let me see if I have any more that are different from that. Oh, and I just wanted to read this one comment that somebody had left a mutual on my Instagram. They said, "It's so nice seeing that your relationship with your mom has gotten better since when I first followed you some years ago. I'm so happy that you guys have been able to get to that point. It took my mom like years to finally admit stuff was bad, and she's trying now, but still here and there are days. I'm wishing that it continues getting better for both of us." The whole fact that she even remembered like all of and it wasn't that long ago, I don't think, that I was posting that stuff, but I love that that helped her and that she remembered it and that she was able to go and mend her relationship with her mother and her mother's admitting to things. And I'm pretty sure that was so healing because when parents validate us, and that's all we really want, it's not such a bad thing, but your life shouldn't be dependent on their validation. But when parents validate us, it's like a really good feeling emotionally because it's like you made me, and you just admitting that you did something wrong or admitting that something you did, you're aware that it triggered me or it did hurt me in a way, it just is healing. So I'm just glad that she's getting the healing from her mom and that she even, like, that was so kind to acknowledge that she sees my growth. That's big to me. So let's move on. I have like about one more question because I kind of like put the questions on my Instagram like really fast. And this is kind of like really fast too. I didn't really have this planned in my day, but I was like, let's push out some content because why not? So another mutual says, who in your life do you look up to that's a woman? Who in my life do I look up to that's a woman? Okay. Obviously I would definitely say my mom. She's grown a lot and she makes me proud knowing that she's my mom and that she handles her business the way she does now because she's not the same person she was years ago when me and her would be beefed out. She's not. And that's something to be proud of. So I would say one person I look up to is my mother. But I have two big favorites that I really like. I listen to their advice faithfully. Faithfully. I will listen to their advice. And I want y'all to check out their channels as well if you got this far in this video. But I think you guys will because it's me. So, y'all know the Sprinkle Lady? She has another channel that's not just about, money and stuff and how to make your money. She has a spiritual channel and it's called Ashira Star Goddess. And she talks about alchemy. She talks about how to pretty much shift your mindset to attract better and to live a better and healthier life. And I cannot even go into detail to express how much she has helped me mentally. Like, when I tell you, listening to her videos is so healing to me. Like, if I had to give credit when it's due, it would definitely go credit to her. Okay? And I strongly suggest, if you ever want a pick me up during the day, go listen to one of her videos. Just listen to it. Like, please. And then another one is the Universe Guru. Oh my God. I love Mina Irfan. She is absolutely amazing. Like, her channel is just pure positivity. She doesn't do the negativity. She doesn't do any of it. It's just so refreshing. It's like, I just love, those are three women: my mom, a sheer star goddess, and the Universe Guru on YouTube. Love them all very dearly. And a sheer star goddess is on YouTube as well. Love them all dearly. Okay, so for all different reasons though. But I think that will conclude our video today. We're at the 36-minute mark, so I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here. I love you and I love the support. And please never hesitate to run to my DMs with questions, because I will for sure be there to answer them. Okay. Yeah. Bye-bye.